Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. We've got lots of guests this morning. Subject matter today, as you know, is strategic planning and top tips with particular regard to outsourcing. And some of you will be completely familiar that this is the fastest growing aspect of the accounting profession globally because there just aren't enough people in our profession to satisfy demand. So we've got two guests with us this morning, and if I could invite someone to change the slide onto the next slide, then we can see who they are. That's me, of course, the handsome chap. And then we've got Ant. Good morning, Ant.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Now, Ant, you're the global manager for Global Emphasis. Give us 2 seconds on your background and what you're doing at GI just now.
Yeah, so I'm Antonetta. I'm an account manager at Global Emphasis. I work with GI for the last 3 years. So a little bit about Global Emphasis. We are in the market since 1999. So actually
since 1999.
Yes.
Let me just see now. That's 2009.
Yeah.
So nearly 20 years.
20 years. So next
Fantastic.
year we'll have a celebration.
Have a party.
Yes.
Lovely.
And we will invite you for
Good.
sure.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah, so we work over these years, we work with 90 plus UK practices. We have some of them in Ireland as well. And out of these practices, 18 are in top 100 and 3 in top 20.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, you're very welcome, Anne. So Anne will be supporting Heather. Good morning, Heather.
Thank you, Gordon. Good morning.
Now, everyone should know Heather is on keyboards this morning. Heather, why don't you just give the audience a little background of yourself, and then I shall leave you to take control.
Thank you very much, Gordon. Yes, I'm the author and the founder of the Accountants Millionaires Club, and I've personally worked alongside Global Emphasis since 2013. Love what they do, so much so that nearly half of all the Accountants Millionaires Club members use Global Emphasis to help them with their resourcing needs. So back to you, Gordon.
Thanks, Heather. So let's just pop on to the next slide and give the group what we're intending to cover this morning. I've mentioned the overriding strategy is that outsourcing is the fastest growing part of the accounting profession in the world. We work with a number of outsourcers over the years and offshorers. Generally speaking, we're talking 50 to 300% growth in the last 2 or 3 years. So, Anne, how fast have you been growing of late?
Well, we have inquiries every week, so people are getting to be interested more and more about outsourcing.
Yes.
So we think we are growing really, really fast, and specifically this period, and accountants are getting busy, and we are here to support them.
Very good. Now, I do surveys with the members and with the firms I work with. At the last time we did a survey, Heather, we reckon over 50% of 2020 members are now outsourcing. Would this be an opportune moment to see what the audience are doing this morning?
I definitely think, we've got more than half of our members are outsourcing as well. So it'd be really interesting to actually know. That's just going to help Anto and myself tailor what we're talking, because if you're one of those half that already outsource, we want to make sure that we're saying the right things and we're not going to bore you for the next hour. So it'd be really, really helpful just to find out.
Very good. Keep voting, team.
Yeah, and the numbers are going up.
Very good. Keep voting for those that can. Keep on. You're doing well. Come on now, team.
It's interesting, as this has all been about, how to have your best January, and we've got an overriding emphasis on one answer. Do you think we're going to get the last few? So 3, come on, put your question in. 2, 1.
Really
let's
fun.
go.
Like countdown.
I know. It's interesting that this is all about having your best January ever, and 87% don't outsource. I wonder if there's a lesson in that.
Well, that's why they're here today, Heather, as you well know.
Yeah, let's just hide the results there.
All right, you take the floor now, Heather.
Thank you very much. So what are we going to be covering today? This is all about how to have your best January ever. And, everything that Anto and myself are going to be sharing has come from our clients and what they've been doing. Now, you're gonna sit here and you go, actually, to have the best January ever, I probably should have started in February. And yes, we are going to come on to actually February, what are some of the things to put in place so that you're not in this position next time, this point next year? We're going to cover a case study of a mutual client who I think it's fair to say wasn't just up the creek without the paddle, but his boat had a massive hole in. He had that much problems, and it's an absolutely true case study of which I will share with you what they did, how they did it, and why they're in a so much better place now. And then Anto is going to share with you just a few ways in which you can work with global emphasis. There are many different ways, from a pay-as-you-go to having a fixed seat. So Anto's just going to talk through those options. And yeah, Alistair, I was really quite surprised when I saw the difference between who does outsource and who doesn't, because I would have expected far more 30, 40, 50% to people that outsource. So it's really, really useful to know that. So let's just quickly move on. So, you know what, I was just thinking about this. A member came on and onto our forum last night and said, you know what, October's gone out with a bang, a literal bang. I've just been crashed into, you know, roll on the busy season. You know, how do you get through it? And I think a lot of us, well, hopefully without the car crash, can relate to that kind of feeling. And whatever size of your business, one of the things that's going to give you the biggest amount of stress is not knowing what needs to be done. That feeling of being out of control, that worry about that risk of what are you not looking at. And so actually, even if you know that you've got a massive backlog, it always pays to actually have complete awareness of what needs to be delivered. And I remember one of our members, I asked him the question. I said, how many more sets of year accounts have you got to do by Christmas? And this was back in September, and he named a figure, and I thought, oh, that's a lot. It goes, it's all right, we've got a plan to do that. And I think, you know, it's having a plan or knowing what you've got to deliver, which helps you build the plan, can give you that reassurance, even when, you know, you're waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I've got this to do, that to do. Having a plan is the base of sorting it out. So if you're on this webinar and you're thinking, I don't have time to do this, I'm going to challenge you on that. Just put up your hand, actually, if you're thinking, I'm really, really busy at the moment, I don't even have time to do a plan. Just put your hand up if you're thinking about that. Good. There's no hands going up at the moment. There's one. And I think, JP, it is time to take a breath and just put half an hour to an hour, just to put the hands down, just to starting in that plan. And in that plan, you want to work out your backlog. You know, in an ideal world, we wouldn't have a backlog, and we'd be, you know, we would have done most of our self-assessments. You know, all of our March year-end work would have been filed, but sometimes real life is different to that. So work out what actually needs to be achieved and by when. Look at your deadlines. Now, you know, if your practice management is working, this should be easy. If not, this is time to get the team together and brainstorming what needs to be delivered when. But it's then about... Yeah, of course you can.
Just a point of admin, team. Why don't we find it easier to use the question console, team? So if Heather wants to ask a question, you can do a simple yes, no on the sort of the question console. So my question to the team, to everyone this morning is, do you feel there's not enough hours in the day? Yes or no? Just pop it on the question console. Yes or no? Are there enough hours in your day? Let's see what comes back now from the group.
Can I answer no? Well, personally, but let's go. David's a no. Mary's a no. Alice
100%. 100% no. Okay, I think we've made our point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Thanks for that, Gordon. I thought it was a very interesting. I love the fact, Alistair, that it's a no, never. I think you and I need to have a quick chat about that. But absolutely, on that plan, it's to draw out what to prioritise and what are the timelines. Because only when you've got this very visible can you then start to take action. So you've got this plan. So the real questions is, how are you going to get the extra support in? And some of that support can be technical accountancy support. Some some of that could be admin support. So these are what some of our clients have done in the club when they've actually kind of booked the plan. Quite a few of them have picked up the phone to yourself, Anto and Jarl Miller, and gone, look, we've got this amount of year-end accounts job that need to be done by this. Can you help? And, you know, once you've already got that pre-existing outsourcing relationship, it's so much easier, because the great thing about, you know, the reason why I recommend GI, apart from the fact you're damn good, is that you've got this flexible switch on, switch off. So it you know, you might be going, but actually, I don't want to outsource it. I want to keep it in the UK. And I fully respect that's a values-based strategic decision on your part. But you may find that there's some local freelancers that would really welcome a little bit of extra work between now and maybe the end of January. So there might be some people locally that are there that can support you. The next thing is,
Heather, I've got to come in there. I do think your point's legitimate in terms of, you know, we've got to keep it British. As a point of GI based in India or the UK?
Well, we have our office is in the UK. We have
So
a
the
UK
deal is
office.
with the UK?
Yes. So if you decide to outsource now, you'll always have allocated UK manager. So you can always pick up the phone and speak to somebody here, or even in Mumbai, India, where our back office is.
All right, but it's important to know that if I was
Yes.
outsourcing to GI, I would be outsourcing to a UK-based
Yes.
business that we all know will be using their resources in India to support.
Yes, that's right.
I was with a firm, Heather, the other day, and then what actually happened was a member of their team fell pregnant.
Yep.
And so she went on to maternity leave, and while she was going through that journey of having kids and taking care of babies, he got in touch with the firm, and they said, oh, we'd love you to keep working for us from home. And so that was a really good arrangement. Everyone was happy with that. It was technically outsourcing, I suppose, but it was just round the corner, no more than 3 or 4 miles away. And then she contacted me and said, oh, I'm now going to Singapore with my husband. He's got a job he can't refuse. Would it be okay if I continued outsourcing from Singapore? And the firm said, oh, that's absolutely fine. And at that point I said, so what's the difference now between what we're talking about and trying to keep it within the family? And it sort of opened up their eyes to say, actually, I get it now.
yeah.
Outsourcing, they were doing it anyway, they just hadn't joined the dots.
Yeah, and you know, that outsourcing doesn't need to be, you know, a formal accounts outsourcer. It could be some freelance support locally.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. School gates and all that.
yeah, the key thing here is you've got to know what you need to deliver. And another thing that particularly our smaller members are using is they're hiring in some freelance admin support to take away the information chasing from the accountants. Remember, this isn't just about year ends and tax returns. It's also about what else can I take off my team or off me in order that they can focus to get the work on the plan done. And far too often, we just get hung up on we have to have a technical pair of hands to help us, and there's no, as you mentioned, there's a real lack of high quality talent out there. And you know that you just don't want to take anyone to do it.
Have we lost you, Heather?
You know, your chargeable members of the firm using unchargeable members of staff. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're back.
Can you hear me now? Yep. So it isn't, we get this fixed mindset that I have to have a technical pair of hands to come in and do this stuff to help me, whether it's outsourced, freelance, contractor, temporary, whatever. And actually, one of the things that you can do is just work out what's the non-chargeable stuff that's taking the time. And you know, I'm not the sort of person, I'm not a killjoy, but it can't fail to have noticed that we are in peak conference season at the moment. And you know, if instead of going for 2 days of the conference, maybe you only go for 1 day. And it's about taking some of those decisions when you know what you've got to deliver. And this is the point of the year where you and your staff need to be closer than a close thing. And it's all about, to keep your mind healthy, it's all about knowing where we are, knowing what's got to be done. And this is why I recommend these daily short operational huddles. Now, these are where you get your staff together and you allow 1 minute per person. So if you've got 5 members of staff, this is no more than 10 minutes. And everyone gets a minute and they go, this is what I'm going to do today. And this is the meetings I've got on my desk. And this is the help I need in order to achieve that. And if I've got any questions for anybody else, now's my time to ask it. You just do this every single working day, right at the start of the day, and just do it. And the reason for this is, number one, it will cut down queries that hit your desk because you'll handle them all in that meeting. 2, you'll get a really good sense of what's happening, what's not happening. And 3, it puts you in control and it gives you the ability to move stuff forward. So just in the question box, who does this daily operational huddles? Just answer yes or no. Do you do the daily operational huddles? So Neville doesn't, David doesn't, Mark does them weekly. And Mark, my suggestion is, when you get really busy, to increase the frequency. And I know that, and I know that seems counterintuitive to do these meetings daily, but a week is such a long period of time when you've got a real high pressure workload. And this just keeps everything really, really focused, because often the reason that we go off piste is that we don't have the quality communication between us and our staff. So if you put that in and have it as something that you'll do between now and the end of January, you will stay in control and you'll pick up stuff before it goes out of problems. The next thing to do is have the whiteboard or have the projector up on the screen where you're showing the progress against the plan, so that everyone can see, this is what we need to deliver this week. These are the numbers we need to hit. I remember at Cornish Accounting, they had a balloon for every tax return that they needed to submit. And then once they'd done it, they popped it. And it was a really visual way that they could see the progress. Have a bit of fun. I'm sure, how many of you, have that visual whiteboard, whether it's a screen, whether it's a physical whiteboard, whether it's some flip charts stuck on the wall, but who of you have that so you can all see the progress? Just put in yes or no in the question box. So Alice has got a real-time dashboard showing it. Well done. Jenny has, Mark has, David has, Marie has, Neville doesn't, Ben doesn't, Kingsley doesn't, Don doesn't. Okay. David has the dashboard, Claire has an electronic one, Ravi doesn't. My top tip, might be low tech, is get some flip chart paper, put the numbers, stick it up on the wall where you all can see. It's got to be really visual. Don't hide it behind a computer screen. And then the next thing to do is reforecast your plan at the end of every week so that you've got fresh figures and that you know what you're doing. And it's not just, and annoyingly, someone's just going to deliver me a parcel at the moment. So Gordon, what's your view on, which I really need this parcel, what's your view, Gordon, on those daily meetings? I'll be 2 ticks.
You just love it. Off you go, Heather. Make sure you get your parcel. Shows you it's real time, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for your feedback, team. This is really very useful information. And I think self-evidently, some of you are saying, oh, well, I'm not doing that, but I think it would be a good idea. The majority are coming through to saying, yeah, we do that week daily. So self-evidently, that's a smart thing to do. I like the idea of team plays, and I'm reminded of, I was watching the rugby over the weekend, and there was some commentary about the best rugby team in the world. Arguably, the best team in the world is the All Blacks. And the observation was this, that where you are friends with your team, if you've got people's back, the team performs far better than any other team. And I think the outcome of a short operational huddle on a daily basis is effectively trying to get everyone's back to make sure that we don't allow, Gordon to drop a ball because he's got too much on his hands. And we just need to be mindful of effectively the stress that's coming through. Now, whilst Heather zopped off to the front door, I'm going to pick up on point 3, which is to treat your body like a temple. Now, for some reason, we're
some
jumping
reason.
there, Heather. You want to go back a couple? There we
Yeah, yes, I'm back again. Sorry about that. It's I'll just let people know is that I'm having new broadband fitted tomorrow, and that was the router being delivered. I couldn't afford it to come today. Nobody else in the house.
Dress. It was a dress. Taking
Yes,
delivery of a dress.
absolutely. But it's
Um,
the big thing here, and it was a really good point that you said there, Gordon. If you've got your teams back, if you are making sure that there's a dialogue with them, and that you're proactively getting rid of all the barriers that's stopping them delivering for you, they will deliver more than you realize from that. So it's the other thing is, and I guess prioritizing self-care is, given that I've got 2 weeks of accountancy conferences, I'm glad I'm teetotal is all I can say in the next 2 weeks, is that actually you cannot drink from an empty cup. The amount of accountants that I meet in February that have got not just flu but a bad case of flu, or are on antibiotics for some really bad tonsillitis or chest infection. The reality is that when your workload goes up, it sounds strange, but your level of self-care needs to go up in proportion with it.
well, Heather, I'm going to pick up on that as well, because I'm very concerned. Just as we went back in taking delivery of your new dress, I was talking about this treating your body like a temple. I am very concerned that we are overworked as a profession. We self-evidently see when all the ladies and gentlemen answered there aren't enough hours in the day. So we're all rushing around. I spoke with my doctor about 2 years ago, and I've worked on this particular bit. The bottom line is this, from his point of view, and he does a GP, he said, I get more accountants coming into my surgery now than I've ever had. They're more stressed than we've ever known. The only profession that's more stressed is the medical profession. So I thought that was quite interesting. And he said, the number one thing above anything else is to do intense training 3 times a week. And he said, if you did that, and it's really reinforcing the point you're saying, Heather, that if you go to work 9 to 5, you'll not finish work until you've done the gym, in my opinion. You've got to go down to the gym and do an hour intense, and then you do, I think the doctor called it active recovery on the other days, which is a gentle jog or something just to keep it ticking over. And he said,
Yes.
if you did that, then you would stand a more than running chance that you can take a lot more stress on.
Yeah, and it's interesting that recovery is not lifting your right hand with a pint in it either.
No need for that.
Absolutely, but it's interesting that you don't have to go to the gym to get this exercise. I've got a water rower in my conservatory. I have an exercise mat, and I have a set of weights. And most mornings you'll find me doing both of them. I didn't this morning, but guess what? I've got a lunchtime date with myself in the diary to do that. So it's not just about exercise. I mean, I could go into all the neuroscience things about how exercise helps, but I'm just going to give you one little thing, is that exercise floods your body with happy hormones. So that's serotonin and that's endorphins.
All good. All right then, Tim.
And basically they get you into a more positive state of mind. Also, the impact of those two is it makes your mind clearer. That's the impact. If you've got a knotty problem and you can't solve it, go for a quick 10-minute walk. You know what? The answer comes when you come back. So that's some of the science behind exercise if you're interested. It also helps you sleep better at night, because exercise is the precursor to melatonin, which is the precursor to deep sleep. More deep sleep, you feel more rested. You feel more rested, you can be at peak performance during the day. But also we need to plan in recharge time. Now, Gordon's mentioned exercise, but that doesn't necessarily just need to be exercise. That could be something that feeds our soul. That could be reading a book. It could be chatting with friends. It's whatever helps you recharge. And it's really important to do that, because when you relax, the brain waves in your brain changes. So you go when we're really focused on something, we have a lot of gamma rays. And if any of you remember your physics at school, gamma rays is the really fast energetic waves. When we relax, our brain actually changes and we get more alpha rays running through. And those, if you remember your physics, are the slower waves. And what those actually do is when you've got the slower energy waves, that allows stuff to come from the subconscious brain into the conscious brain. That allows you to get more clarity, to be more effective. And it allows you, that's the reason why when we're in the shower, we often get our best thinking time. It's that switching off. So we've talked a bit about, but it's also, you can't expect to be at your best if you fuel yourself with poor quality fuel. You'll never get a good fire burning if you're putting wet coals on it. And that's the reality. So it's, I have a lot of dietary restrictions because my gut is, shall we say, far too sensitive for life generally. But this is about really making the time to put high quality food in you. And if you need to do one of these food preparation services, do it. The worst thing we can be doing is grabbing takeaways and washing it down with a glass of red wine and beer at the end of the day. That's going to impact our sleep. It's going to impact our stress levels. The more you can treat your body like a temple, the easier it is it's going to be to get through January. And I'm going to stop the lecture now on that because it's a big thing for me.
Thank goodness. Moving on, Heather.
I know. I just realised there was a soapbox that I just got onto. But it's not just about that. It's planning that review time. Not just the daily ones, but as mentioned, that weekly, so that you and the team can see how far you progressed. I work with a lot of very ambitious, high achieving accountants, and they're always trying to get to the next thing, and they're never quite at their goals yet, and they're always berating themselves. Actually, it's really, really important that you plan at that time to go, hang on a minute, we've got our deficit down by this, and to really, really, with the team, hero small wins. Because when your brain is in a pleasurable state, you are more effective. And then the final thing is have a point of accountability. That could be someone within your family, a daughter, a son, a wife, a husband that's going to say to you and drop you a text, how much have you done? It could be an external coach. It could be, another accountant buddy that you do for each for yourself. So those are some of our top tips about how to make sure that this January is the best, and that is about that daily and the weekly operational meetings, those huddles, so that you've got the plan. It is about having a plan and taking action on that plan so that you can move any excess or you can move stuff around so you know what you need to deliver and you've got people allocated. And then it's about really prioritizing self-care during those busy periods. But let's just say we've got to the end of February. You've got through, you're smiling. Actually, how can you set yourself up better for next year? The first thing is do plan it now. Have a rolling capacity plan for the next 12 months that you're monitoring every month, and you're changing as new clients come in and maybe hopefully not too many clients go out. Look and put milestones in your calendar where you'll start the email campaign to get the documents early. So I remember a particular call in our club in August where the members were going, right, I want to now tell people to bring their self-assessment stuff in. Have a time in your calendar and plan the emails that will go out. If you use something like Center, Iris, and many of the other great practice management, you can get those notifications automatically. But don't rely on email. You will need to pick up the phone. The more you can plan the capacity, whether it's in-house or whether it's using an outsourcing operation like GI, the better. And this is a big one.
I think, Heather, I'm going to give in my favourite one is, rather than rely on me to do it all the time as an accountant, I'm going to put it out there that my clients can self-manage this, because I can say to them, and it came to me from a firm in North Wales many years ago, he said, I can't quite understand this. He said, I get a client comes in September with all their stuff, and we do their tax return, we charge them £200. And then a similar client comes in on the 28th of January. We move heaven and earth. Because we have to, we do it in half the time. And if we're not careful, he said, I build the client half the amount of money because I spend half the time cracking through it,
Yeah.
super efficient. And I said, well, you know the answer to that. He said, yeah. So he wrote to the clients. He said, if you get it in September, it's this price. If you get it in before Christmas, it's this price. And if you get it in January, it's another price. And the feedback was the clients managed a lot better for him the workload. Obviously,
Yeah.
if people were on a budget, they would try and get it in before September. And if people
Yeah.
weren't on a budget, then it didn't matter. So they just paid a bloody great big premium, even if it only took an hour or so to do it. They didn't mind paying.
Yeah, and this is, build it into the engagement letter. When you sit down with new clients, let them know that this is when we expect your data to come in, and if it comes after that, we reserve the right to charge a penalty. And if you actually stick to your guns, you'll be amazed how they won't do it next year. Now, my personal favourite things to avoid, and is I ask people, so why are you so busy at the moment? And they go, oh well, we've got a couple of members off. Don't give holiday in November. Minimize holiday in October, and and work out when in December you're going to close the office. Don't give holiday in January. The amount of people that I find that are struggling in the busy period because they've had somebody off on study leave, they said yes to somebody's holiday request, someone's gone ill, and before they know it, they're half staffed. And actually, you can plan for the study leave, you can't plan for the illness, but you sure as hell don't need to give holiday in busy periods.
Having said that, if it turned out that we were going to be short in November, you would get team buy-in to outsource. So if you want your holiday, the only way we're going to do that is picking up the phone to GI.
Yeah.
Quite persuasive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because it's all about the planning. So, for example, if you know that your staff want to take holiday in November, just let us know probably end of October, mid-October, then we can plan for it and make sure we have the resources for you.
Absolutely, because Heather's exactly right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it jumps on you. Think, oh my God, I didn't join the dots. I'm now so far down on staff, and I've got so much to do.
Yeah. That's the right time to call.
We've all done it for sure.
And actually, one of the also a couple of our club members have, shall we say, actually accidentally lost some members of staff in October and November. And you know what? That happens with the best will in the world. That happens. But one of the great things, if you've got outsourcing in your back pocket, the amount of people that have given you Anto and also Yarmila, who works with a lot of the accountants, that have given you a call in the last 6 months and gone, help, we just lost a member of staff and we've got this amount of work to do. Can we send some more stuff to you? It's quite high, isn't it, at the moment, Anto?
Yes, this is how it is. And then this is we make the plan and work together with our clients.
Yeah.
Well, that is the real world. That is exactly what's happening. And they are increasingly fine. So, Heather, why don't you take us through a couple of your own clients who have taken the leap and just take us through the journey?
Yeah, I wanted to particularly talk through this one client. So a mutual client to the club. We'd introduced him to Yarmila and Anto. Didn't want to know. No, it's not part of what we do. We don't want to we don't want to be doing outsourcing. We want to be supporting the local economy, blah 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 type stuff. And I think we've all seen that before. And then a set of circumstances happened. And he was dead against it, absolutely dead against it. And in spring 2017, he lost 2 out of his 8 accounts team. So he's now down by 25%. He then, of course, because he didn't want to outsource, because he wanted to be a good, positive local employer, he looked into recruitments and started doing interviews, but he found that for the role that he needed, it just wasn't there. Either there was people with minimal experience wanting 30 plus K when actually they really should be on 25, or they just weren't there. So he was already down and his backlog was building up. And then disaster struck in October 2017, he lost 3 more of his accounts team. So he only had 3 out of 8. And they actually calculated if they were to hit their deadlines, every member of staff, including my client, would have had to have done at least 3 sets of accounts every day, including weekends and Christmas Day. It was one of those moments where there didn't seem to be any way out. And I think it's fair to say that more in hope rather than anything, he picked up the phone to Global Infosys, and he sent 20 files in the first batch. You know, if you're to do it right, ideally you'd send a couple, you get the process right, but he didn't have the time. He didn't have the opportunity. And actually, from October to January, he sent approximately 50 files. And what they actually found was that the work that came back was better than the work that they'd been sending, that they'd previously done in-house, actually a better quality. And as a result, they now have an accounts team of 2 and 1 admin person. And that admin person works with Global Infosys for 75% of her time. That admin person, actually, she reviews jobs, deals with queries, works with the accounts team. And you know, he doesn't say to his clients that he's outsourcing. He says he works with trusted subcontractors. And this is what he's found. So he's got an immediate saving on his staff costs. And actually, some of the staff that he didn't want to keep have sort of left the team as well because they didn't want to work that way. And if he's honest, he didn't want to keep them anyway. So the people that were up for working this new way have stayed, and those were the people he wanted to stay. His staff recruitment is now a cinch. He's just literally upped the outsourcing to Global Infosys. He's got lots more office space, and everybody's just going, wow, this is so much nicer. And he's been able to offer some flexible working to the members of the staff, which makes them happier. And he's been able to really progress the business and the home. Now, one of the things that you might be interested in is that I helped Global Infosys write just a short 5,000 word book on everything you wanted to know about outsourcing. If you'd like a soft copy of it, just put into the question time box now, ebook, yes please, and Anto after this webinar will email it through to you. I really recommend reading it because it answers all the key questions that you might have if you were thinking about outsourcing. And Paul Miller is one of the people that's named in that book. He's also one of the people that's a key member of the Accountants Millionaires Club. And he's found that accounts outsourcing has really, really, really helped him move forward. Interesting, Alistair, who already uses Global Infosys, would like a copy of the book as well. You know, it's a great little book. I have to say, it's not a bodice ripper thriller. It's a very practical how-to book. And
well,
somebody
look,
like
Heather, let me just we've got another poll. I think this would be helpful. Having heard the story of one, and I can now support Heather's example 40, 50 times over. It just works. Why don't we pull out this poll, Heather, and ask the question, because I'm interested to know, because the feedback would be fantastic. Are you very interested in knowing more about Global Infosys stroke outsourcing, down to I'm already a client, and 2, I'm not interested at all? I'd really like to know from the group what the feedback is, and that is fantastic. Goodness me.
Yeah, votes are coming in.
Very good. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so the purpose of the webinar is, yes, very good.
Yeah.
I was with a firm the other day, and almost exactly what you described, Heather, but the numbers were maybe 3 times larger.
Wow,
so
that's hard.
Yeah, and well, the poor old chap, I mean, bless him, it wasn't his fault. That it was just a remarkable series of very, very unfortunate events where he just seemed to lose a lot of people for the best, shall we say, for the correct reasons, other than he was a very bad employer, because he wasn't. And he sat down with his team and he said, right, this is my chance. And the phrase he actually used to his managers was, I can pay you more if you stop doing the files, but just review the files.
Yeah.
And that was very persuasive.
Yeah.
Very persuasive. And then so they really opened up. And in fact, this firm's got a combination of outsourcing and offshoring with 2 different providers.
Okay.
Keeping people on their toes, good idea.
Absolutely, and it's great to see that 80% of you would love Anto to get in contact. Just from a personal point of view, I get approximately, I'll just hide the results, I get approximately 1 approach via LinkedIn most weeks by an outsourcing company that I've not heard of. And I basically say to them, look, sorry, I can't even have a chat with you. The best in the UK is Global Emphasis, and that's who I recommend. To the point that I am the #1 source for new business for Global Emphasis in the UK. So really, they are the good guys, and if 3 out of the top 20 firms trust them, you can trust them as well. But yeah, I mean, somebody like Paul has accidentally lost a couple of staff members at the wrong time, and he's very nicely been able to cover up the gap by just extra outsourcing.
Yeah, it's a winning model.
Yeah, so Anto, I think it would be great if you could show people the different ways that they can either work with you or pay for outsourcing, and I think that sets you apart in many ways from the other outsourcers out there.
Yes, thank you, Heather. That was really interesting. Okay, just a few words about Global Emphasis, who we are. So as I said before, we have a UK-based office. We are in Harrow. We have around 10 staff there. So we will have our accounts manager there who work with our clients. We have a small admin team and a marketing team who supports us. And our back office is in Mumbai, India, where we have around 170, 180 people now. So we have a bookkeeping team, a year-end team, and a small payroll and tax team.
And you're just rushing now.
Sorry.
Whoa. So we've got 180.
I've been told before, so yes, I'll try to slow down.
So we've got 180 in total.
Yes.
You've got a bookkeeping specialised area just
Yes.
to support people on bookkeeping.
Yes.
Year-end accounts.
Yes.
What else?
And a small payroll team and tax
payroll.
And tax team, yeah.
And tax team.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
if I want to send just tax returns to
Yes.
you, no trouble.
Yes.
Payroll. You've
Yes.
got specialists for all those key areas.
We cover all of
right.
those.
Lovely. So you've got your fixed fees here.
Yes.
So you quote a fixed fee and that's it.
And that's it. So we work on a fixed fee basis, and we think it's fair to our clients for them to know from the beginning how much it will cost them.
Yeah.
So you will know from the beginning how much it will cost you, and how we do that. It's we look at the volume, so we look at the job, we look at the documents, and we will ask you your needs. What do you want us to do for you? And then we'll come back with a quote. And once you agree, this is when we start the job.
This is per job.
This is per job.
Okay.
This
that's
is per
pretty
job.
straightforward. Lovely.
This is per job, and our clients are happy with fixed fees because they will know always how much it will cost. And once we quote for a job, we always stick to it. So it's always that fee that we quoted for you.
Very good, which is exactly what we want.
Yeah. I was about to say I've had clients where, the very, very few times that it's happened that something's gone wrong, and GI fix it at your cost. It truly is. Once it's fixed, it's fixed.
Okay, so that's very helpful. So I now know my cost. I know what I'm going to charge the client, so I can work out whether I'm going to make money out of this client or not.
Exactly.
Bullseye. Love that.
And our model, which is probably mostly preferred, is a pay-as-you-go model. So we have no minimum commitment with our client.
Okay, let's get Heather to switch on to the pay-as-you-go slide there, Heather, please. Thank you very much.
So we would like our clients to stay with us because we do a good job, not because they have to. And that's why we have this model, which is pay-as-you-go. So it's per job. And our clients use us probably most of them in our peak time, but we have clients using us all over through the year because it's all, how Heather said, it's all about the planning. So if you are proactive with your clients and you can make a plan for the year and tell us that each quarter, each month, I'm sending you these jobs, then we can plan our resources and make sure that it's there for you and it's available for you.
Well, you reminded me, I was with a firm only the other day and they've got over 120 academies. And some of you may know that the Academy's year, and I think it's August, and they've got to file it all by the end of October or something, i.e. now. So, forgive the phrase, but the shit's hitting the fan as we speak with these firms. This would be perfect, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Where
Yes.
you can say, look, we've got this number of
Exactly.
academies.
Exactly.
Hectic time of year, never
It
mind
is.
tax return season.
Yeah.
So that would work very well. Okay.
That would work very well. Yeah. So how this can work for you, what you can get from us, it's the quality. So we produce UK standards jobs
Of course.
on the year end and the bookkeeping. The turnaround time, it depends. For bookkeeping, we all know the VAT deadlines, we all know the deadlines we have to keep, but for management reports and all that, we all agree with our clients when we have to deliver, and then we stick to the deadlines.
Hang on. So turnaround time, can I get something turned around by tomorrow if absolutely necessary?
Well, it really depends. If we can, we will always help you.
If you have to?
Yes, we will try.
Yeah.
We will try. Well, to get it back by tomorrow, it will be really difficult even for us, but we will try.
Okay, so can I have it back by the end of the week? Assuming I came to you on Monday.
If we have the resources, yes, you can.
Yes. Okay, so I just want to give people a guidance. We're not talking months. We're sort of talking 4 or 5 days, maybe a couple of weeks, but not months, and certainly not.
Certainly not months.
They've got decades.
Yes.
You know, we're talking about
Yes.
returning a phone call sometime next year.
If we do a proper planning, and for example, on the year-end side, the usual turnaround time is 3 weeks.
How many weeks?
3 weeks.
Three.
From the moment you accept our code, we start working on it. We have to give time for the client to answer the queries if there are any.
Less than a month.
Less than a month, for
Very
sure.
good. That's lovely. So that's brilliant. That's what people want to hear.
Yes.
And I think it's quite important that if you're sitting here listening and you're going, oh, you know what, it'd be really useful if I could just get those 5 sets of accounts for GI to do, pick up the phone today. There are a lot of your clients that are having those conversations. So the sooner you speak to Global Emphasis, the sooner they can allocate resource to what you're actually doing.
Yes.
Really important that don't deliberate on this, because I know how many of my clients are about to pick the phone up to you and go, actually, can you help us out? The sooner you have that conversation with them, the sooner you can get your jobs booked in and you can get to the front of the queue.
All right, you've got a point there, Ant, about saving on infrastructure and technology. Do you really mean that? Or do I need to be, on the cloud, and do I have to step up my technology, or will you take over that for me?
Well, for example, on year-end, how we work on the year-end, if you are on cloud and if you're not on the cloud, we can work either way.
Right.
If it's on cloud, it's very easy. We all know how it works. But if you have a software desktop software,
yes.
How we would work on your software. So we would need access to the server, to the software, which access can be limited. So you will disable copy and paste. So you make sure that we cannot copy anything from your server. And how India works, they have dual screens. So on one screen, they will have the software, and on the other screen, they will have the source documents, which you save on your server.
Very good. Okay, that makes sense. So preferably on the cloud, but matters not.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Heather.
Anto, there was a question asked by Mark. What software is used to prepare the accounts, bookkeeping, and payroll?
Well, we would work on your softwares, but we have experience with mostly all of them in the UK. So will it be Iris, Digital, TaxCalc, Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, and I don't know, all the softwares, So it doesn't really matter for us. And our India team is very good to pick up, and to learn new softwares as well.
Yeah. It's from the list that I've seen, Mark. All the major names they work with. Are you Silver Xero, or are you now Gold Xero, Anto?
We are Gold partners.
Yeah. So that gives you an idea. They are very used to even the latest and most up-to-date platforms. Back to you, Anto.
So as we discussed, as Heather said, pick up the phone and talk to us if you need to outsource some of the jobs. And this is where the dedicated UK team comes into the picture. So you will have an allocated UK manager who you can discuss with, plan with, and make sure that you have back your jobs in time.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds very compelling. Let's pop over to the SOS, which sounds a bit scary, but I'm sure it doesn't mean SOS really.
Well, it means shared outsourcing solutions.
Good.
So this is a module which is a dedicated stuff, and how this will work, that you need somebody who works on your jobs, and you need a dedicated person just for yourself. You will let us know that you want a staff for yourself. We will look for it, we will hire him, we'll train him or her, and it probably takes us like 1 or 2 months to get the person, and then this is when it's ready for you to work on your jobs. So you will manage him, you will plan their jobs, their time and everything. It will report to you, but it will actually be in our office in India, and we will manage him, and we will make sure he has everything to deliver to you.
Okay, so that's what I think we used to call offshoring versus outsourcing.
Yes,
This is an offshoring.
It's very similar, yes.
And what we found, ladies and gentlemen, is that as firms get bigger and bigger to using outsourcing, it naturally migrates to an offshoring model.
Yeah.
Because people say, "Oh, I only want Ant working on my stuff now.
Yes.
You know, she's really good, and
Exactly.
next thing you know,
Yeah.
you're fully on all my
Yeah.
stuff." Which
So
is,
you have continuity, you have the quality, you know the person, you can work together with him, and it's fixed fee, yeah, and it's there for you.
And if people are wondering where to get started with outsourcing, my recommendation is year-end jobs. Year-end jobs are the perfect things to outsource to get started. When you're really, really happy with outsourcing, so year-end jobs and also self-assessment tax returns at this point of year, when you're really, really happy with outsourcing, that's the point then to move to bookkeeping and payroll and the more communication heavy types of jobs that you could outsource to Global Emphasis. So Anto, question, how does outsourcing fit with GDPR and PI cover? I know that you've got to change your engagement letter because you're going to be handling the data differently.
Yes.
But what else do you need to do to be compliant with it? And will you help people with this when they come and talk to you?
Sure. So in our agreement, we already covered GDPR, and as I said before, if it's on the cloud, then it's GDPR compliant. If you look at Xero, they say that they are GDPR compliant. And on the year-end side, on the desktop software, as I said before, we will work on your server, we will work on your software. You will limit the access, you will disable copy and paste. You make sure that we can't copy anything from your server, so all the data stays in the UK and all the data stays with you. And also, for example, you can create an email address for, let's say, outsourcing a 2020 group, and make sure that all the communication with your team in India is done via that email address. And you make sure that you don't send any attachments, any documents via email, and all the reports are saved on your server.
helpful. Not outsourcing. SOS out of 2020.
Yes.
SOS. Right, we've got 7 minutes, team. So what else do we want to cover off?
I would like to cover up the next product, which is Smart, is solutions for management, accounting, reporting, and tax. This is a product which our clients really like because they white label it and sell it to their clients. And this is a product which covers basically everything from bookkeeping, VAT, payroll, management reports, year-end corporation tax, everything. So you will, for example, you, Gordon, if you choose this product, you will act as a FD of the company, and we will be your back office. Everything will be done by us, and you can have your quarterly meetings or monthly meetings with your client, discuss the management reports, and advise them, because probably you want to go more into advising than processing.
Yes.
And this is where you can add value to your
Absolutely.
company.
So this would lend itself. So if I had Gilchrist Chartered Accountants, I then created Gilchrist Cloud Accounting.
Yes.
I would then turn to you and say, right, I've got 5 clients that need real-time support 24/7 across the list you've got down there, the left-hand side.
Yes.
So that I can see what the estimated tax position is going to be,
Everything,
whether the
monthly.
cash flow forecast allows me to pay it,
Exactly.
and move into that business advisory space.
Yes.
Without the cost of someone doing it other than you. I love it. Now, Barry Lewis. Do you know Barry, Heather?
No, actually, I don't. I probably should do.
Yeah, smart chap. Lovely quote there. I mean, that's in a nutshell what it does. You don't have to worry about a thing.
Exactly.
All laid on. So if that's an area that I think the profession is moving in this direction in any case.
It is. It is.
So you might as well say, okay, well, we might as well not fight the tide and jump on the bandwagon, because if I were your client, that's sort of where I'd like you to be.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I have to say. Now we've got refer bookkeeping clients. What's that about?
So this is for the practices. They don't want to deal with the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Because some of them, they just say we just don't want the hassle. So this is where we come into the picture, and you have a client, and you say, here is Global Emphasis. They will do the bookkeeping for you. They will handle everything. They will answer the questions, the queries. They will report, and then you, as an accountant, will receive from us the year-end accounts for free, as long as we deal with the client. So we'll be in direct engagement with the client. You will get the year-end accounts for free from us.
Okay, so that's a slightly different relationship than we've talked
Yes.
up till now.
Yes.
I get it. How well have the accounting profession in the UK taken to RBC?
It's a quite very new product, but
Yeah.
we developed this product because we had inquiries. We had accountant practices. They said, we don't want to deal with the bookkeeping. Here is the client, you deal with it, and then you just help us on the year-end side. And this is why we developed this product.
All right, so a number of people are going to ask the question, so I might as well do it for you. You're not going to go direct to my clients and take them off me, are you?
No, for sure.
Okay,
No,
we want definite no.
No, that's a big no.
Okay,
that's a
good.
big no.
All right, just so everyone knows.
Yes.
So
Love it.
there's a question from Kim, which is, do you have any info on GDPR we can see that we need to put in? So I guess that's the engagement letters. Kim, when you start working with Global Emphasis, they will hold your hands on this, and all you need to do is ask, and they will show you what needs to change or what paragraph needs to go into your engagement letter. So that can be handled.
In fact, Heather, that's a perfect opportunity to show them how it actually works on the next slide there. Are you going to take us through this, Ant?
Yes, just quickly. So how to get started? So if you need outsourcing, please give us a call. We'll have an initial discussion. We see how things are working at the moment in your practice. What do you need from us? What we can do for you? How can we help you? And then we suggest always to try a few jobs with us to see actually the quality of the work and how outsourcing can work for you. Once the trial job is done, we will ask for your feedback to see how great, brilliant we have done.
Yes.
And then once we agree on the format, on the module you want to work with, then we will start working and then we will start planning.
So that's fairly straightforward.
Yes. And just as the last thing, we will have regular meetings with you, and we'll always ask for your feedback, because it's important for us to know if we need to improve in any way.
Which is why you've been here for nearly 20 years.
Yes.
It works. It works. So a number of you will then ask the question, so we might as well answer up front. The general feedback and quality control, you've mentioned it 2 or 3 times. On the next slide, Heather, you've got ISO 9001 and 27001. How difficult was 27001?
Well, you probably should speak to our CEO from India. It took us a long time. Yes. It was difficult, but now we are there. So now we are proud to say that we are certified.
Massive congratulations. That is a very difficult one to get. 9001 is not so bad. Heather, any thoughts on quality control on the slides there?
I think whenever I speak with our clients, and the reluctance about outsourcing either comes down to well, we've been burnt before with quality, not doing that again, it was a waste of time, or it comes to the almost the values judgment, we want to keep it in the UK. Everyone that I have recommended to Global Emphasis is still working with Global Emphasis and recommends you. You know, you've, as a business, you've doubled, tripled in the last I don't know how many years on the basis that every job that goes out is a quality piece of work and it's reviewed twice. This isn't just one-off review, this is a twice review. You don't get to work with top 20 accountancy firms if your feedback and your quality is not good on every single job.
Absolutely. So, Ant, you're on the road. Tell us about it.
Yes, so if you want to have a chat with us, this is the locations where you can find us in this month. So we will be at the 2020 annual conference. come and say hello, and we can have a quick chat. We are at ZeroCon as well, so we will be there on the 14th and 15th of November. And before that, we have a ZeroCon pre-drinks. We would like everybody to come to have a chat with us, and Heather will be there as well, which is on 13th of November.
Where? I know exactly where, because that's the pre-drinks.
Yes.
I need to know exactly where the pre-drinks are.
I will send you the information. So maybe if can we ask the question who would like to be there, and we will send them the.
Oh yeah, let's use it. Who wants to be invited to pre-drinks? Just give us a yes or a no, and we'll watch the screen move.
Yeah, it's 2 o'clock. We're at oh, brilliant, Alistair. It'd be lovely to meet you properly. But yes, so no, it's 2 o'clock. It's let me just remember the name. It's basically a restaurant right next to Excel.
Yeah.
But we do need to know there's plenty of time to have a couple of drinks with us before you then go to have drinks with Zero, before you then go on to have drinks with Receipt Bank, and before you then go on to the Practice Ignition pre-con party.
Who said accountants don't drink? Look at that.
Yes, as I said, I'm quite pleased that I am teetotal. Not by choice. I have, not by choice. But absolutely. But it'd be great to see a lot of you at ZeroCon. Be lovely to have a chat. Robin's asked about paper bag clients, and I was half answering it and thought I better ask it. With you've got clients that are still sending you in a bag of receipts, I'm guessing you can either scan them into Global Emphasis or send the receipts to Global Emphasis, who will scan it. Is that still the case, Anto?
Well, we always say we are training our clients to use apps like Data Molino or Receipt Bank, because it's even saving your time as well and clients' time. By the way, they are sending it to us. They just rather take some pictures with an app. It's really easy. So we are really we are happy to help our clients to train their clients how to do that.
And there's a lovely example, Heather, of how you don't need an accountant to take pictures.
No, you don't.
Anyone can take a picture. I think my 12-year-old child can take a picture, but I don't know. I never asked him. I must put him on the case. Let's wrap up then, because I'm conscious of time, everyone. So thank you so much for you guys for listening. Thanks, and so we're in the same office, which has been, we can eyeball each other. And Heather, many, many thanks. Who's miles away? Where are you, Heather, right now?
Bedfordshire.
Bedfordshire. Oh, it's not so far away.
No, it's not so far, no.
Just as a last thing, I wanted to mention that all the members of the 2020 group, they get a free trial with us up till December.
Free trial.
It's a free trial. So if you want to try us out to see the quality of our work and how this can work for you, just pick up the phone, please, and speak to us.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, team. Well, thank you all very much indeed. And we'll see you at ZeroCon for the pre-drinks.
For the pre-drinks on 13th of November.
13th November. Many thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.